Hello dear viewer, Murdoch X here, and I wanted to talk to you about books that take place inside of video games. Mandela effect confirmed! There's a genre of books out there called LitRPG, and as I'm sure you've guessed, that means that they take place inside of games. Not necessarily video games though, as some take place inside of Dungeons & Dragons-esque locations. I currently work as a truck driver, and listening to audiobooks is the best part of my job. Well, that and the pay is pretty good, but seriously, I get paid to drive in a straight line down the highway listening to audiobooks all day. It's a nice gig, so today I thought I'd share my love of this genre with you by talking about some of these books. First and foremost, let's get Ready Player One by Ernie Cline out of the way. I'm sure that by now most people out there are familiar with this thanks to the movie. I enjoyed the movie and the book is my favorite book of all time. Having said that, just like anything, it's not for everyone. The book is loaded with 80s pop culture references, but ultimately it's a rags to riches story to me, and the 80s nostalgia is what rounds it out. Ready Player One follows our hero Wade Watts as he struggles to avoid the dangers of the dystopian world he lives in by sneaking off to a secret hideout he has and logging into the Oasis. The Oasis is a future VR version of the internet that is one giant game filled with planets of other games. One day every subscriber of the Oasis gets a video message from its creator James Halliday that basically says, "If you're seeing this message, I'm dead. I've hidden 3 Easter eggs inside of the Oasis. First to find them inherits everything." All of these eggs are based off of Halliday's love for the 80s, and our hero and his friends all become egg hunters in hopes of inheriting this fortune. And then there's the mega corporation that's cheating and sending goons after our team of heroes. I love the book and the movie, but now that this one is out of the way, let's move on to some of the other lesser known novels out there. My second favorite LitRPG book is called Survival Quest, and it's by Vasily Mahanyenko. LitRPG as a genre has been blowing up lately, but Russia had an early start on this genre, and this is one of the novels to come out of that part of the world. Some of the other Russian novels have some culture shock moments, but this one isn't as rough around the edges when it comes to that. Our protagonist Daniel is a tech guy who gets set up to take the fall for a crime, and as punishment is sent into the virtual reality world of Barliona to mine for virtual resources as punishment. Mining can also be done by the regular players, but it's a boring task. As a prisoner, Daniel can't create his own character. He's given the class of shaman with no say in the matter. In mining prison, he begins to learn the way that things work around camp, like that there's a skill for being a giant jerk and that most of the other inmates are leveling it up. But he also learns that if you can get your faction ranking with the guards up to a high enough level, that his character can be really sturdy. As a shaman with very few battle skills and the only defeatable mob being the rats in the mines, he must learn how to raise his standing with the guards while also avoiding being killed and robbed by his fellow inmates. I love this book, and I jumped right into book number 2 when I finished it and loved that book as well. As only the first 2 books were translated into English when I read them, by the time that book 3 was released, I had forgotten enough of the storyline that it was hard to jump back into, but I may try rereading the series again sometime. The final book that I'd like to tell you about is Desert Runner by Dawn Chapman. This book sets itself apart from the rest of the pack by starring an NPC that knows she's inside of a video game. She also understands that she's programmed to fall in love with players the more she interacts with them, and as such she avoids them at all costs. The story takes place inside of a sort of Mad Max kind of world where our hero Maddie is frustrated with players wandering around acting rude and killing everything because they see the world as just a game. I like this idea that parts of the software have become self-aware and fight their programming. There is a lot more to the story, like the player that Maddie is forced to work with and the dangers of crossing the desert during Tromol mating season, but this book brings up a lot of fun sci-fi ideas while also fighting through the dangers of a video game world. So there it is, a short summary of 3 different LitRPG novels that I've enjoyed. I've read at least 25, and I plan on continuing to read any more novels that I can get my hands on in this genre. I've been surprised at how good the books I've read so far have been. While not all of them have been winners, I've had better luck here than with general science fiction or fantasy novels. There are some common themes that come up in many of these books, like dealing with crappy skills or finding the silver lining in a dumb fetch quest, but that's okay because this type of plot device works for me. I love it, and I love seeing so many independent authors finding success with this new method of world building. Anyways, that's the video, and I'm recounting all of this from memory, so please forgive me if I've made any mistakes. It's been a while since I've read any of these books, and if you've never read any LitRPG novels, please give them a shot sometime. I hope that this genre continues to grow and I keep getting these sweet audiobooks to listen to while driving around the country in between making these videos. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Also, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, so please feel free to recommend any good books in the comment section below. I'll also link to my Goodreads account below, so feel free to add me as a friend there or just look over my list of books.